Hello, I'm Fara Sax, and this is Gloria's Gab Live. I am filling in today, and I wish for her, if she's watching, a quick recovery, speedy recovery, and return to the chair that I'm keeping warm for her until she returns. Also, I would like to thank today's sponsor, South Florida PBS, for all the great programming that you provide for our community, and thank you so much for supporting community news and this show. I would like to welcome today, though, Sue DeFerrari. And she says her last name is, my name is DeFerrari, but I don't have a Ferrari, right?
Correct. Not yet, anyway.
Okay, there's always time, right? She is the executive director and foundress of MorningStar Renewal Center.
Perfect.
Wow, Renewal Center. And has been there for the last 20 years. And again, MorningStar is celebrating its 20th anniversary.
20th anniversary, yep.
Serving our community. Tell me about this. This is what an adventure. And thank you so much for joining me today on such short notice for both of us.
Yes, thank you so much. This is such a gift for me and also for MorningStar to be able to highlight kind of a hidden gem in the Pinecrest community and the community of South Florida at large.
So let's unfold this hidden gem. Tell me about it. What's the history about the space in the Renewal?
Well, the history goes well beyond 20 years, but let me just take you on a quick tour back, probably 60 plus years, late 1950s. And before both of us were alive, I'm sure.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
You're so kind.
So it's a Catholic property, right? It's owned by the Archdiocese of Miami and always has been. Late 50s, the first bishop of Florida was known, this is the oral tradition, was known to be a pilot and would fly over the land and pick out 10-acre plots. And that's how we have parishes that were all founded around the late 50s, early 60s. So Holy Rosary, Epiphany, all these different parishes. He'd pick out these 10-acre plots. One of the 10-acre plots was the current MorningStar Renewal Center. Was originally known, and many people will remember this in our community, the Dominican Retreat House.
Oh, yes. Interesting.
Same location, similar mission, pretty much the same mission that we've built upon. But basically, that bishop at the time went back to his roots in Philadelphia, talked to the Dominican nuns that he knew there and said, I've got a piece of property for you in Florida. And actually he did.
And it's not the swamps. I got some great property for
you. And who knew how great it would be, right?
Wow.
Middle of Pinecrest. And he said, if you come and build the retreat house, I'll deed the property to you, to the nuns. And that's what happened. They came, they built the existing 2 buildings on the property. One is a dormitory. We have 80 beds. It's a 40-bedroom facility. So it's almost like a small old-style motel. And then the other building on the property, which they built as well back in the day, is the dining services, the conference center, and a small chapel. Mm. And then beautiful, our, kind of gem, as I said, is the grounds, just beautiful, lush, South Florida, Miami vibe, tropical paradise.
Wow.
Green space.
And what I find really interesting is you are homegrown also.
Yes.
And when the Renewal Center began, so did you as part of this. So talk to me about this history. You grew up here.
I grew up here. I grew up riding my bike through that property in order to get to church.
And who knew that that you would be here, we were having this moment, and you've been there for 20 years.
No, exactly. And I would never have known it. My life, I didn't think at that time would be back here in Miami. I had very proud Palmetto Panther.
Shout out.
Yes,
shout out.
Left Palmetto, went to University of Florida. I played ball in college, college athlete, and then went on back to Miami to work in my first job here, moved back into my parents' home, as many college students do. Got my first job as a therapist in our medical systems here in Miami, and pretty soon was invited through people that I had been meeting in the medical field to go and work as a medical missionary in the People's Republic of China.
And you did that for 6
I did that for 6 years.
And what was some of those experiences like? And how did you bring it to what you're doing now?
Well, what I found out, in my early 20s, after, basically never being north of Gainesville, was that I was invited to Beijing in the 90s. And, the communist bloc had just fallen. The Berlin Wall was down in 1989. And here I find myself in 1990 in the streets of Beijing, working at their premier medical university as a healthcare professional, but using the English language. A lot of Chinese wanted to learn their profession in English, and to have the American, sound was a big draw. And so I was brought into this program, but that was my cover. That was my job. But the real invitation, and something that was powerful for me, was here in Miami, at University of Miami and at Jackson, where we had a lot of research fellows from the People's Republic of China. I had connected in a deep way on a faith level with many mainland Chinese who were visiting our city and working in our university and our medical system here as fellows, as doctoral students. And it didn't take me long to figure out that they had never had a chance because of their situation. Many of our communist, many of our Cuban people in our city, growing up here, we know the experience of people who have come as refugees or come and live as dissidents here, and how things get shut down in other systems of government. And it was the same for these Chinese students. They were experiencing life here in the United States and being able to ask questions they've never asked before in their life, like, what existential questions. What is the meaning of life? Why am I here? Why are there rich people? Why are there poor people? Is there a God? What does life mean?
So what did you do with that, knowing that information? Where did you take it? Because you were very identifiable because you had lived that in your previous 6 years, and here you are bringing it forward to a local community. So
yes.
How did that propel you forward?
So when I came back, when I landed back in the States after that time of service, I basically said, okay, how do I re-enter after that kind of experience? And I went back to graduate school.
And you were in Boston?
I went to Boston. I'm a Boston College double eagle. I did graduate studies in community organization, which is my passion. And
something tells me you're doing it right now, right here at MorningStar.
Yes, absolutely. And my other graduate degree is in theology. And so I married these two passions of faith and service in the community. And so I was really poised, although I didn't know it, to begin to launch a new nonprofit right here in Pinecrest.
Isn't that interesting? And it's like the opportunity leads you, or it finds you, or somehow serendipitously we connect to that passion and our drive and our goal in life.
Oh, absolutely. And, I would say, it doesn't matter your age, there are doors opening all the time. Can we perceive them? Can we pay attention to the opportunities, sometimes right under our nose? Right?
Absolutely. Like, I can't find my glasses. I can't find my keys. It's right under your nose.
Right. Or sometimes on your head.
Yeah. I've had that happen. We won't talk about that. But quite honestly, it is. And when that opportunity presents, can we walk through that door? The door is open. Do we see it? Do we feel it? Are we in the moment where we can receive it?
Right. So perfect situation explanation of that, or example, is I was back here in Miami from Boston caring for my mom, who had been diagnosed stage 4 cancer. I had come back as the only daughter of 4 kids and said, this is where I need to be. My husband basically, told his employer, we're going to Miami. He's also a Miami guy. We came out of, the Northeast. We came back, and I was having babies. It was early in my marriage. I had just had my second child, and I was on maternity leave, and I got a call from one of the nuns who I had remained in touch with. Remember, I used to ride my bike through the Dominican retreat house to get to my church, St. Louis. And she said, we're going to sell the property. This is in 2003. She cried. She was sad, less amount of women religious. They needed to reallocate their assets. And so they were going to sell the property. 2003, before the market busted, right? The contractors were lining up, salivating over that property. But my community organization, kind of background, as I hung up the phone, I did a little quick study of what's happening with that property. And I found out that when that first bishop who flew over the property, he deeded that property to the nuns. But it said, if you ever leave, the archdiocese has first right of refusal. So I knew that there was an opportunity to save that land for the purpose of ongoing service to the community. So I started to write a proposal. It was really kind of an interior, movement inside of me, like I had to do it. And I told my husband, I feel like I have a proposal on the Dominican retreat house, an idea. So I called the pastor of St. Louis, Father Jim Fetcher at the time, and I said, I think I have a proposal on your neighboring property. And he said, oh, that's not up for conversation. And I said, well, can you get me in front of the Archbishop? And sure enough, long story short, he organized a group of business people who were St. Louis people, St. Louis Parish. And we talked about the vision, talked about the idea, and we went to the then Archbishop Favalora of the Archdiocese of Miami. This is 2003. And he liked the idea. Now, looking back, I can say, I don't know if it was that he liked the idea of kind of building upon the sisters and maintaining the property as a retreat house, or if he just liked the idea of having the property back.
But it happened.
And
here we are in 2004 at that time.
By the time it happened, 2004.
So let's talk about MorningStar Renewal Center. Tell me what it means. What is a renewal center? What does that mean? What is that mission?
Yeah, so the mission...
So, because it's changed from the time of the nuns and where it was for 60
definitely.
years.
It is expanded. And that's a vision, that's a visual that we like to think about. It's like, if you imagine like putting up a tent, and let's say you have a 2-person tent. We've created a gigantic tent that the whole community can come under.
So we have some B-roll. Let's roll it, and as we talk about the facility.
Yeah, so you've probably driven past this view a million times on 124th Street.
This is in Pinecrest, and here we are
entering in, and as I said, it's about a 10-acre property. There we have our labyrinth. It's open to the community. It was actually dedicated as an ecumenical project. There's the Art Deco vibe there.
It is. I feel a throwback.
It is a throwback, but we call ourselves retro cool.
I love you are retro cool.
Yeah. So that's a view of the dormitory parking lot. So when you come, free parking, that's an asset in Miami.
Absolutely.
That's the interior. This is one of our conference rooms. That's the other view of it. Heading into the chapel, as you see, this is a small little prayer space.
It's charming. It's cozy. It's welcoming.
Cozy.
The colors are great.
It's got a great vibe for sure. And then we have a full-time chef, and we offer full-time dining services. There's a commercial kitchen.
Nice and clean.
Yeah, no, that's one of our landmarks is, the cleanliness of the place. It's simple, clean, and quiet.
And then you can dedicate a brick to
Yes, you would be amazed at the number of names you'd see on that pathway. You'd know many of them.
It's beautiful because it's a forever thing.
So one of the cool things is that we serve about 10,000 people a year who come on overnight retreats. A typical stay is 2 nights, 3 days.
And I see it's a dorm style right here.
Dorm style. So it's, that's also kind of a throwback to college, right?
Absolutely.
Dorm style. Every room has a little sink in it, and then dorm style showers and bathrooms.
I love the deco tile.
Oh, it's original tile. It's amazing. Yeah. So, pretty simple, but like we said, we're retro cool.
Retro cool. And so it is interfaith.
Oh, absolutely. Now, the space is owned by the Archdiocese of Miami. The property is owned, and it is an archdiocesan ministry, an archdiocesan entity. These are some of our gardens.
Very tranquil. I feel very calm just watching
this.
But
one of the great things that I love about MorningStar is that it is a space open to everyone.
So you cross the boundaries of, you have rabbis. You were talking about a retreat there. You also had the police.
Oh yeah. So a couple of the more recent things that we've done. We have this past weekend we had the law enforcement and fire retreat. 3-day retreat of this was the men's retreat, men, firemen, and police coming away to kind of regroup.
And how beautiful it is at night, too.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Lighting.
We also have nonprofits. We host every year a bicycle ride that goes from Miami to Key West, raising money for HIV/AIDS. You probably have heard about it. The Smart Ride is now transitioning into Fab Adventures, and they'll be back again right before Thanksgiving. Like 400 bike riders that launch from MorningStar, University of Miami, and head all the way to Key West. And we've become their home base. This is where the organizers of the ride set up.
Right.
Yeah. But our primary work is really faith renewal. So you asked what that is.
Yes.
And my best way of expressing like what a renewal center is really just that. What do you do in your life to refresh yourself? How do you stay centered? How do you, in the chaos of our lives, the busyness of our lives, how have you created structure within you interiorly to stay authentic, to stay true, to allow your life to deepen and have meaning? And so it's not just a bunch of tasks that we're accomplishing in life, but that we're making meaning and we're offering contribution and meaning to others. And so a renewal center offers a multitude of programs.
So is this just because MorningStar is producing it, or are these outside organizations that come in and use your facility?
Both and.
Both and. I love
both it. And. So we are kind of a 3-peg approach to our programming. We host retreats. So if you have a program from a nonprofit or a faith-based organization, are the primary groups that we serve. Come in, we'll cook for you, we'll clean for you, we'll give you great space. But we also create our own programs. We have a bereavement services training program. We train people for spiritual direction.
Is this based just through the Roman Catholic tradition, or is it non-denominational?
Always interfaith.
Always interfaith. Beautiful.
Always interfaith. So
it's inclusive. Very
it's
inclusive. Community.
Everybody is welcome, and everybody's tradition is honored. And that, for me, speaking as a Catholic, that is something that I really love about Catholicism, where we see the small c. Catholic actually means universal. And so when you come to MorningStar, you're not really coming there to be indoctrinated by any certain flavor of anything. You're coming to connect with yourself, with your God, with your higher power, and with each other.
And is this children, adults, or is it combination?
We have family retreats. We have individual retreats. The majority is, to tell you the truth, is adult formation. Although one of my pride and joys is about 12 years ago, we started a peer ministry program. And we invite kind of the creme de la creme of our high school age students who are interested in becoming ministerial leaders in wherever they go, wherever their faith is. their church, their synagogue, whatever. And they can come to a week-long formation program every summer. We've been doing it for about a dozen years. And they have the best time of their life in that week. It's high-octane fun. But at the same time, they learn to lead a small group. They learn, if they're a musician, they learn to lead worship. They learn to give a personal witness or a talk to engage people from their own story and connect it to other kids. And then during the year, this team of students that kind of graduate our program, they make themselves available when we are called upon. I get calls all the time. Can you come do our kids retreat? Can you come do my 8th grade retreat for my graduating 8th graders? Well, how can one person go to 90 kids? So this team, then we reach out to our high schoolers and say, hey, peer ministers, are you available on this day? We build a team. They've all been trained, and we go and we service those schools.
So after they've been serving the schools, what's some of the feedback and how have their lives changed by becoming in contact and from this training that is provided from what you're doing?
Well, these are people you'd love to have on your show, because these are young people who go away to college. Some come back to Miami, but so many of our alumni of our peer ministry training are people who serve in the community. Either they become lay ministers themselves. Many of these kids are now serving as youth ministers in different congregations. Some of them are married now and have kids. I have a musician serving over at St. John Newman right now. I mean, these are people who have been touched interiorly, and our theology teaches, and I have this on good account from Rabbi Bookman before he retired, is
nice man.
This is good Jewish theology as well, that the divine works within us in a transformative way, little by little often, and then moves us outward. The Quakers even say it, that God is always about the work of expanding our boundaries outward. And that's something I really believe, that it's, renewal can be for me, but it's never just for me. It's for me and.
So the and that we're going to talk about right now, I don't want to be Debbie Downer. In the world that we live in now, what do you feel, think, how do you move forward? It is some of it's trying times locally, some of it's trying times globally. How do you, as a lay minister, wrap your head around that, and how do you talk to people about what's going on during difficult times? It could be, this time it could be loss of a relative, a friend, it could be an illness,
absolutely,
death. What is that conversation like for you?
Well, I think there's many ways we can approach it, but the first one that comes to mind is on a personal level. First of all, on a personal level, how do I deal personally with challenge, with hardship, with suffering, with loss, with confusion, with not knowing, why did that happen? Is there a God? And if there is, why didn't he or she show up? Right?
It's a big question. It's a really big, ethereal, out there question, but we always ask, why? Why? And so you're going to give me the answer so I can go to sleep tonight, and this conversation is over, and I'm good. I'm good at this point. And our audience will be great too.
We're solving the world's issues here. What I would say is that so much of the opportunity of a faith perspective is that we come to discover that there's a withness of God and others when, really at all times, but often we come to find that when we're vulnerable.
So is it withness being with this problem or with this community or with this God or with this self, or is it all of this?
With you. That in our brokenness in humanity, if we're open to it, I think we can discover, and some things need to happen in order for us to discover it. We come to discover that indeed there is something other than just us or our pain or our issues that longs to be with us. And, St. Augustine said it, if you want to go way back, that, Our hearts are searching and we try to fill them with many, many things. Or maybe we can even say our heads, but they are actually only filled with the God shape that fits that need. And so in our challenges, I think one of the things that faith-based communities can do is offer the strength that you're not alone. You're not alone in this. That the divine shows up in the community, can also show up really, beyond the community, but definitely within and through us.
Absolutely.
And so I think our work at MorningStar is very much inviting people to get in touch with that through learning how to center yourself in prayer and meditation, learning how to develop your own faith journey. What does that look like for each individual? Honoring what your gifts are, honoring what your desires are, not trying to push you into something, but inviting you to explore that and to recognize that there's more. There's more for each one of us if we're open to the new. That could be very ancient, but it can be new.
Absolutely. Sue, thank you so much for joining me today. And if you want more about MorningStar, it's morningstarrenewal.org. And it's what a beautiful time we've had, and I enjoyed so much.
We could talk forever.
And we will. When Gloria gets back, you're going to come back again.
Gloria, we miss you so much.
And I want to thank you all for being here today. I'm Fara Sax. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.